Perek Gimel and Sefer Yoshua. We have discussed sort of Yoshua's inaugural speech to Klal Yisrael, where he was charged to take over from Moshe. Last week, we went into the Meraglim, the two Meraglim that Kalev and Pinchas that Yoshua had sent, and the story of Rachav Hazona, and she ended up marrying Yoshua and had many great people coming from him, including Yirmiyahu and Navi, that we quoted the Chazal. Now,
Ernie, is Elazar?
Say it again.
Is Elazar on? Is Elazar here?
No, I don't see Elazar.
No.
Elazar became a great-grandfather for 3 sons yesterday.
Wow.
In one day.
Mazel tov.
Yeah.
One day?
One day. One had twin boys and the other had a boy.
Wow.
I told him he should make a l'chaim. He should make a l'chaim for him tonight, but I guess he never showed up. So he's
probably drunk.
Do you think he's trying to sign in? Maybe.
No. I was talking to him on the street yesterday. Of course, he didn't know, but
no, he told us last night. Last night at the Daf Yomi.
And I sent a message anyhow.
In fact, while we were learning last night, they got called about the twins. He didn't even know that there were twins, and he thought he only had 2. Then it turns out he had 3.
Wow,
right. So the next 3 prakim, Perek Gimel, Perek Dalet, Perek Hey, are going to deal with the miraculous crossing of the Jordan River. And I'm just going to read. There's a new Nevi'im, Steinsaltz Nevi'im. He has a nice introduction. He says, there are great parallels between the splitting of the Jordan and the splitting of the Red Sea. According to some opinions, Israel exited the Red Sea on the same side that they entered. I mean, it was like a semicircle. They didn't cross the Red Sea. They went into the sea and then they came out on the same side. But when they crossed the Jordan, that's not the case. When they actually crossed the Jordan, they went from Chutz La'aretz into Eretz Canaan. So that, of course, is a difference between. But the purpose of this miraculous event had not been to actually cross the sea by the Yam Suf, but to accomplish 2 other objectives: to utterly destroy the Egyptians, and to reveal God's miraculous providence over his people. These outcomes were what was truly needed for Israel to embark on its journey into the wilderness. Now, the Jordan is not a large river, and the miraculous splitting of its waters would not be physically necessary for the nation to cross it. They could have crossed it without its split. But just as with the Red Sea, its splitting was an evident breach of the laws of nature, as we're going to learn tonight, in what fashion it was a breach of nature. This open display of God's intervention in earthly events led to panic among the inhabitants of Canaan and a weakening of their resolve, while strengthening the people of Israel. Because of this miraculous event, by the Jordan River, by splitting of the Jordan River, the fortitude of Israel is strengthened, and they suddenly become a tangible threat to all the nations of the region. So that's a nice introduction to this whole process. By the way, the word Yarden comes from the word Yored. That's the Shoresh. And of course, the source of the Jordan is up in Syria by the Banyas. And these streams flow into the Kinneret. And from the Kinneret, it descends 180 meters to the lowest spot on earth, which is the Yam HaMelech, the Dead Sea. So the concept of Yarden from the word Yored is actually built into the word. So again, like we did last week, we're going to read through the Perek, and then we'll come back and analyze the Perek through the eyes of Chazal. So Vayashkein Yoshua baboker. Yoshua woke up early. Let's keep that in mind. The Tanakh didn't have to use the word Vayashkein. There's going to be some meaning in why the pasuk says Vayashkein, that he woke up early. Vayisume Ashitim, that was the location on the Ever Yarden that they were at. Vayavo Ara Yarden, they came right to the Jordan River. Hu v'chol bnei Israel, vayalinu sham terem yavoru. They stopped there before they actually entered. Vayhi mikse shloshes yamim, vayavru hashotrim b'kerva machaneh. You remember, Yoshua's delivery to Klal Yisrael was 30 days after the B'chi Evel Moshe, and he told the people, after mourning for Moses had stopped 30 days. That's when they were told, here in 3 days hence, they are going to cross the Jordan. Remember we learned they were given like a period of time, just like the 3 days prior to Matan Torah, to prepare. They were given 3 days. By Tzavuatam Lemor, and the Shotrim commanded the people, saying, Kirotchem, when you see at Aron Brit Hashem Elokeichem, when you see the Aron, the Kohanim Alviim nosim oto, and the Kohanim and Alviim that carry it, Vatem Tisu Mimkomchem, that will be the trigger for you to start moving. Vahalechta Machra, and then you will follow the Aron. So let's notice two things about this pasuk. First of all, who normally carries the Aron? Is it Kohanim? No, it's Levim, right? We have in Sefer Bamidbar Kahat, right? Of the sons of Levi, you had Kahat, Merari, and Gershom, and the Kahat, that tribe was given the task of carrying the Aron. So all of a sudden, this pasuk throws in the Kohanim there. Well, what the Kohanim have to do with the Aron? Number two, when in the Midbar, when the Bnei Yisrael traveled, was the Aron in front of them? The Aron was in the middle, right?
In the middle.
In Sefer Bamidbar, we're given the way that the camps were laid out. There were 3 tribes in front, 3 tribes on either side, 3 tribes in the back, with the Mishkan in the middle, and the Aron in the middle of the Mishkan by the Kodesh Kodoshim. That's how they traveled. So what all of a sudden do we have the Aron in front? So let's keep notice of that. Ach rachok yiyeh. But they were told to stay far. Beinechem uveinav ke'alpayim ama bamida. 2,000 amas. Now, what is when we in Shas, when we hear about 2,000 amas, what does that usually refer to?
Is the gvul for Shabbos to go out of the city?
Exactly, John.
Tchum
Shabbos.
Walk on Shabbos, right?
That means when you live in a certain city, you cannot travel beyond 2,000 amas. That's called the tchum of where you're living. So let's keep in mind, they somehow 2,000, they had to stay either within or just about 2,000 amas from the Aron. Al tikravu elav, don't go closer. Lamana asher tedu et haderech asher telchuva. The Aron's going to show you the way. Ki lo avartem baderech mitmol shulshom, because you haven't traveled here before. Vayomer Yoshua la'am iskadashu. Again, he tells them to prepare. Ki machar yaseh Hashem b'kirbechem niflaot. Tomorrow, when you cross, there will be nisim. Vayomer Yoshua la'kohanim le'mor. Su'u et aron abrit. V'ivru lifnei ha'am. He tells the Kohanim, you carry the Aron. Again, we recognize that there's something different here. Vayisu et aron abrit, and they did carry it. V'alchu lifnei ha'am. Vayomer Hashem Yoshua, Hayom hazeh achel godlecha be'einei kol Yisrael. Today, you're going to be seeing greatness. Asher yedun ki kasher hayiti im Moshe eyeh imach. This is going to sort of seal the deal, because remember, a few prokim ago, we learned that it was very important to transfer the mantle of leadership from Moshe to Yoshua. Well, this act, part of the miraculous nature, is going to show That just like Hashem was with Moshe, he's with Yoshua as well. And now you will command the Kohanim who are carrying the Aron. The Kohanim entered the Jordan, and then they stopped. They didn't go any further. Vayomer Yoshua b'nei Yisrael, go shuheina, come close. And we'll see what that means. Where were they supposed to come close to? B'shimu es divrei Hashem lokecha. Vayomer Yoshua b'zos tedum. With this you will know that Hashem is with you. V'hareish yorish mipnechem, and He will cause you to inherit the Knani, v'tachiti, v'tachivi, v'taprizi, v'tagigashi, v'amori, you will see the 7 nations that dwell in Eretz Canaan. Hinei Aron Abrit, Adon Kol Haaretz. What does that mean? What do you mean the Aron Abrit is the Adon Kol Haaretz? Over lifnechem bayarden. I'm going to ask you another question. We've seen now references, maybe 10 different references to the Aron Abrit. Why was the focus of the crossing of the Yarden the Aron Abrit? And it's going to be, I believe, the main theme that we're going to see from this parak. They're told, they are told to appoint one person from each shevet. Mishiftei Yisrael, ish echad l'shavet. We don't know what they're supposed to do yet. V'haya kenoach kapot raglei kohanim. When the kohanim's feet are stationary in the river, nosei Aron Hashem adon kol haaretz mei hayarden. At that point, mei hayarden yikaresu. The waters of the Jordan will split. Hamayim hayordin milmala. The normal flow of water from high to low, like we described. Mm-hmm. The Jordan River flows from high elevation to low elevation. The Yamdu Neidechad. And the waters are going to be dammed up, in a sense. And we're going to see what happened. The water is going to pile high. The nation will leave their tents to cross the Jordan. Each person, Kleist, are going to walk before the Kohanim, remember, are standing right where the Jordan first begins. And Klai Yisrael are going to pass before them until they all cross. That their feet are still sort of sunken in the mayim. He's describing that the Jordan River was full. It was springtime. That was normally when the Jordan would overflow its banks. But all this water would gather. The water is going to pile up. One of the Chazals are going to say almost 300 mil high, a massive height, so that all of the people in Eretz Canaan could see it. That's what caused them to be afraid. And there was a city 25 kilometers to the north called Adam. And there was another city nearby called Sartan. And the waters piled up all the way to there. The water that normally flowed into the Yam HaMelech stopped flowing because it was sort of like a dam effect. The people walked through the dry land of the Yarden, sort of opposite the city of Yericho, which, as I said, is 25 kilometers to the south of that city, Adam, where the waters ended up piling up. The Kohanim are still standing where the waters have split, they haven't moved. And all the Jewish people are traveling on dry land.
Ernie.
Until the Jewish people have fully crossed. And then
Ernie, stop.
Yeah.
Is this all talking about he's going to say what's going to happen? He's telling them what's going to happen. It's not happening yet, but he's repeating it multiple times. Because in Pasuk Yud Gimel, he tells them about the water's going to stop, and it's going to stop into a column. And then the exact same thing in Pasuk Tes Zayin. He tells them the same thing. So it's all in the present, you're saying. It's all going to, Vayamdu is they will.
Yeah, this is all.
What's gonna happen?
Look at the next pasuk, the first pasuk of Perek Dalet. It says that they've already crossed. Kasher tamu kol goyei labor. They
This is
obviously were in the
described.
process of crossing.
But they're waiting until the last one has passed.
They're in the middle of crossing.
As I said, as I started in the introduction, there's going to be 3 prakim, Perek Gimel, Perek Dalet, Perek Hey, that describes the crossing and what happened during the crossing, which, for example, this Perek didn't tell us what the 12 people that were chosen, what they had to do. We're going to see. They had to take some rocks, and we'll see what they did with the rocks. That's going to happen in the next Perek.
Doesn't say who they are?
We will see.
Yes.
That the detail of who these 12 are going to take place.
Okay.
So yes, there's sort of a mixture between. Right now, we're describing what happened. This initially he was given a nevuah that this was going to happen, and this perek is actually what happened in a present tense. Right, but it's like it says in Yudalit, "Vayhi bin soam oleihem lavor tayardei v'konim noser bit l'fneim." They're there. It's written in a present, and each thing is happening as it's being described.
Correct, it's happening.
Finally, the last pasuk, "Vayhi kasher tamu kol hagoy lavor tayardei," and now the last Jew has crossed the Yarden, and the narrative will continue. Okay, so. Let's go back to Pasuk Aleph of this perek. That concludes the perek.
Again.
So it says like this.
Bernie? You see it's repeated because the first pasuk in the next perek, he says again, take 12 people. And he told them this perek also.
That's right. So, no.
Yeah,
so
so it changes from past to present.
Right.
And then in the next perek, it's going to go into detail what those 12 people did. So we're given a revelation about the 12 in this perek. And the next perek, we will go into detail what happened with those 12. So in the Yalkut Shimoni, it says like this. So, Vayashkem Yoshua baboker v'lola v'layla, magi mishenite reshut l'malach l'chavel ein mavkin ben tzadik l'rasha. When the malach hamoves is given permission to make a destruction, sometimes you can't tell the difference between a tzadik and a rasha. L'lamdech shetei nichnas b'chitov v'yotze b'chitov. You should always start something in a positive way. V'chein atamotze shayu avot vanvi'im noagim b'derech eretz. Shneimar, vayashkem Avram baboker, uksi vayashkem Yaakov baboker, uksi vayashkem Moshe baboker. V'alot varim kabel. Each one of Avram, Yaakov, Moshe, they all woke up early to begin whatever Hashem told them to do. And it's a kal v'chomer. Im avot u'nevi'im means you should always start early in the morning because that's going to help you. Says the Mefarish here. A person we have a concept that you shouldn't rely on a miracle. Even though you might think a miracle is going to occur, don't rely on it. A person shouldn't put himself in a place of danger and rely on a nace. You you shouldn't start a new beginning at night. Sha'aza mazikim mitzuyin. There are demons at night. The night is not a good place to start. The Chaynita in Masechta Shabbos Lamed Beis. La'olam al yamud ada b'makom sakona. The yoimar sha'osim lo nes. A person shouldn't put himself voluntarily in a dangerous situation and say to himself, I'll be saved by a miracle.
How come we always say we start the day by the night? If that's the case, it's mazikim coming at night. We always start the day with the night.
Because it says, Vayera Vayvoker Yom
I understand. So where are they getting the mazikim? So what do you think they would start? HaKadosh Baruch Hu would tell us, Vayi Boiker, that's a bad thing. I don't understand where that comes from.
So that's when Avram went out to go to the Akedah, or when Moshe Rabbeinu woke up and was told to do one of the plagues, Hashem told him it was all done by Hashkama in the morning. And they're explaining to us, because even though something miraculous is going to occur, it's safer to start in the daytime, because the night is, we know many chazal that at night you shouldn't walk alone, you should walk with people, whatever. The night is a dangerous place. There were murderers on the highway. The night is not as safe as in the day.
Ernie, I have an even starker kasha to this. If that was, first of all, this is Am Yisrael. This is not an individual like Avraham. What about the most obvious one? Is Vayihi b'chatzi halayla. What Bnei Yisrael just came out. When they came out, God commanded it to go in the middle of the night without wasting time to leave.
No. That's HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Vayihi b'chatzi halayla. That's HaKadosh Baruch Hu b'chvodo v'atzmo.
Yeah, I understand, but Bnei Yisrael had to leave their homes right afterwards, right? It was
they left in the morning. The Geula of Klal Yisrael happened in the daytime, not at night. Paro called them at night right away, but the Geula Vahi be'etzem hayom hazeh.
The Passover.
Didn't you see the movie?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's continue.
Yeah.
Shema lo yasu lo nes, v'im osim lo nes, menakin lo minan mizach yosef. And even if a nes is going to occur to a person, they're going to deduct the merit that you got for having the nes occur to you is deducted from your bank account. So you don't want to rely on a nes.
Yes.
Like Rashi, remember Yaakov, he says, Katonti mikol hachasod. So anyways, that's one pshat in Vayashke. And of course, there's other, the Mincha Shai says, the Hayarde Nifka B'schus Avram. That since it says Vayashkeim Avram Baboker, one of the zechuyos for the Kriyas Hayarden is because of Avram Avinu. Now, so let's go to the
stones.
Now the Malbim, when it said Vayitzavu et ta'am le'mor kirotchem et aron brit Hashem. So the Malbim makes a comment, Ki tamid nasa Aaron achar shnei galim v'tamid nasa u'alavim. He pointed out what I pointed out as we were reading this. All of a sudden, Bnei Israel saw that something was different was going on. Normally, the Leviim carried the Aaron, not the Kohanim. Number two, the Aaron did not lead Klal Yisrael. It was in the middle of them. The Ata kiroschem shnei shinuim. The Malbim says now they saw two differences. Number one is Aaron, that it's going by itself. Va'akonim nosim oto, az lo titagu k'mo tamid shetchil etchilu shnei gal mitzoah. They knew something different was up. There's something afoot here. But it says, and says Rashi too. Look at Rashi on Pasuk Gimel. V'halachta machrav. This is a different pattern, the way they always travel. Usually there was a pillar of cloud in front of them. And it was only the Aaron was in the middle of Klal. And then when it says Va'konim alviim, says Rashi, number one, he says a pshat, Sheyatsu kula melevi avi. One pshat in Rashi is who is the Kohanim? Anyone descended from
Included.
Aaron. From Aaron. But Aaron also came from Shevet Levi. So that's, he gives one shot. Because they all came from Amram, Nikru, Levim. Like it says in Breshis Rabbah. Now, there is a chazal that's very interesting like this.
Excuse me, Ernie. What happened to the Levium when the Kohanim got to the edge of the Yarden?
Say it again.
What
Oh, we're
happened to
going to
the
get the Kohanim
Levium,
just
yeah.
stood. They stood there they took one step into the river and they just stood there.
That was the Kohanim.
That's the Kohanim who are in the Nosei Aaron.
And what did the Levium do? Because here it says the Levium took them.
Right. So later on, but then you'll see the other psukim said clearly only the Kohanim. Vayomer Yoshua laKohanim lemor se'us Aaron abris. So that's what Rashi is commenting on, that the Kohanim are also called Levium, because Aaron also is descended from Amram, their grandfather. That's basically what Rashi is saying. But
It's not the Kohanim Levium. It's Kohanim who are also Levium.
It's Kohanim who are also Levium. Then Rashi comments on Rachoki Yeh. One comment is Kvodo Shel Makom Hu, that by staying away from the Aron, it's a kavod HaKadosh Baruch. I want to say Dover Acher, Shtei Aronos Hayu. Because remember, we're going to see later on, the pasuk is going to use a plural term. So there were two on Shel Shechina v'Shel Yosef Mahalchin Yachad. We have a chazal that there were sometimes two aronos because they were carrying the coffin of Yosef. Yosef's bones. Remember, Moshe Rabbeinu found Yosef's bones, and the Arona Shel Yosef and the Aron Abris used to travel together. And Chazal say that it flattened the mountains, and we're going to learn that Chazal in a minute. So some say that these two Aronos were there as well. And we'll discuss that. Now, what about the Kalpayim Amma? Why did they have to stay 2,000 Amma? Shetiyu Yecholim Leilech ulehispalel b'Shabbos lefanav. They wanted, Rashi tells us that they wanted Klal Yisrael to be within 2,000 Amos of the Aron, so they could go on Shabbos to daven there, so that they wouldn't be chutz l'tchum. Because we said Tchum Shabbos is 2,000 Amos.
Huh? Was it Shabbos here at all?
It's not yet Shabbos, but when Shabbos comes, they until this process ended, if a Shabbos occurred, it could be within 2,000 Amos. Now, this thing about the Beis Aronos, there's an explanation for that. V'yesh lanu leva'er. The im be'emet halchu shnei ha'aronos ha'ele b'yachad. This is the Musar HaNevi'im. Im kain. V'pnei ha'ksivu b'loshen yochid v'lo b'loshen rabbi. Why is it referred to as a singular?
Right.
V'nira lomar. Shezeu mishum da'omer b'sota. Shekol hashonim shahayu Yisrael b'midbar. Hayu shnei aronos halalu. Throughout the 40 years in the midbar, these two aronos, Echad shel Meis, which is Yosef, the Echad shel Shechina Mahachin Zem Zeh, Vayu Oivrim v'Shavin Oimrim. And the people who would see Klal Yisrael would ask, the Chidarcho shel Meis lahalachim Hashchina? Is it proper that a mace travel with the Shechina? Omru lahem Kayim Zeh Mashakasuv Bazeh.
But if the Kohanim were there, how could the Kohanim be there and Yosef's bones be there? It doesn't make any sense.
Right. According to this shot, it would be difficult because the Kohanim maybe only in that time they were only carrying the Aron and they stayed away from the Aron.
Maybe that the Aron of Yosef was Kulu Kodesh, so they had a special heter.
Oh.
And I'll go, these are tzaddikim, maybe they're not metame. We'll go with the Imkain, Kivan Shekol Gedulosu Shel Yosef, Haisarach Machmas, Shekia Mashakosov or Nasheni, Harein Be'etzem, Hema Bedover Echad. V'lachein Nemer Aleim B'loshen Yochid. He explains why the reference, even though there might be two Aroinos, the fact that Yosef was Makayim Ashakosov Bezeh, it's considered like one Aroin. That's a nice shot. Okay.
Harold, maybe if you turn into a mummy later, you don't have a...
Oh, Magda's a mummy.
Now, I wanted to, there's a new sefer. It's called Maggid Studies in Tanakh from Rabbi Michael Hatton. And he brings a beautiful Ramban that will tell us why did the ark play such a central role in the crossing of the Yarden. So we know that the ark, the Aron, was composed of three different components. There's a chest-like wooden receptacle covered inside and out with pure gold. That's the box. Then there's a lid, the kapoiris, for the chest, consisting of a rectangular block of pure gold, upon which sit two obscure figures called kruvim. So that's the lid over the Aron. And then number three, there were two long poles of gilt wood for carrying this Aron. So we see that the ark served as the depository for the Edus, right, for the Ten Commandments. And we know Chazal say when Moshe Rabbeinu received communication from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, where did he get that communication from? Mi bein hakruvim. So the Aron had two components. It served as the repository for the Torah, and it served, in a sense, as that infinitesimal point in space in which Hashem communicated to Moshe. And I'm going to read the English of the Ramban. When he refers to the Aron. The text commanded that the wings of the Kruvim must be outstretched, but it didn't indicate their purpose in the Mishkan or what they are to be why they are to be constructed this way. This is the Ramban. The text continues by saying that the lid, the kaporos with its kruvim, is regarded as an integral part of the ark. It's not a separate, it's part of the Aron. The lid is to be placed upon the chest, within which are to be stored the tablets of testimony. And here's where the Ramban says what the function of the Aron was. It shall function as my throne of glory, for there I will meet with you and speak with you from upon the lid, from between the two kruvim, when they sit upon the ark of the testimony. The ark therefore resembles the chariot, the merkava, that Yecheskel saw in his vision. Right? When we read on Haftorah on Shavuos, the merkava.
We have a visual. We have a visual on the screen.
You have a
Ramban,
visual. Ernie, you have a
there's
visual.
the visual on the screen of the kruvim.
That's the real one. Walter has the real one.
I have all in gold. That's why I keep all my gold, Harold.
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
And by the way, look at those wooden sticks, the poles that are sticking out, because we're going to talk about this too. So he says like this: it was the same creature, this is Yecheskel, that I saw beneath the God of Israel at the river Kvar, and I knew that they were kruvim. That's what Yecheskel said. Mm-hmm. So now the Ramban continues. For this reason, Hashem is called He who is enthroned upon the kruvim. That's a pasuk in Shmuel. And their outstretched wings indicate that they are the chariot that bears the glory of God. So for Ramban, the Ark of the Covenant is the chariot or vehicle that is his kisei hakavod. So that's one. So the ark symbolizes our desire to bring God into our lives. It's got to be done through the medium of God's teaching and the performance of his commandments. So the ark only contains one thing, the luchos, which is representative of the Torah. But we have to understand that God communicates to Moshe from between the kruvim, for the ark is the symbol of his throne. denoting his ongoing presence and involvement in the world. So this combination of the throne is the bedrock of the stone tablets for the instruction that Hashem gives between God and man.
Obviously, HaKadosh Baruch Hu needed an antenna. That's a good antenna today.
Now, one more thing about what I think is very interesting. All of the other vessels, these poles that carried them, such as the shulchan, the menorah, the mizbeach, the poles are uncertain when the Mishkan moved, but were removed when it was set up at its new location. But the rings of the ark remained forever. They are not to be removed. What's the meaning of that?
With the
For
poles in
all
them?
other
With the poles in them. You don't remove the poles.
The poles were never removed. When they put the Aron in the Kodesh Kadoshim, do you remember we learned a Gemara that the curtain, the paroches, you could see like two breasts. Chazal described that as if two breasts are sticking out. They could see the two poles making an indent. So we had to see. It wasn't just enough. We had to see that the poles were making an indent on the paroches because the poles were not removed in contradistinction to all other kelim. What's the pshat of that? In the case, because it's like this. It is the fact that we maintain the position of the staves was an emphatic and concrete expression of the idea that the people of Israel, the human bearers of the ark, have the special purpose of bringing God's presence into the world. The staves had to be carried by human beings. So the symbolism is that without human beings, we're the ones who have to bring that message. The ark may symbolize that God desires to be involved in our lives, and it's the representation of his glorious throne. But unless human beings bear that ark, unless the staves are carried by the people of Israel, God remains an inert and detached reality. We alone can initiate the ark's motion by grasping these staves. So the procession of the people towards the land by Yoshua is led by the ark, not because it is a cultic or a talismanic object, but because it signifies God's ongoing presence and involvement. He will lead them into the land and secure it for them. But they, in turn, must uphold the provisions of the tablets of testimony that are there. They have to keep the Torah as the foundations of his earthly throne. I think it's a beautiful shot. Yes.
Ernie, who said that shot?
Well, he brings from the Ramban, and it's this Rabbi Hattin.
But there was a difference. You know that when they took back the Aron from Philistine, right? They took it back, and one of the people went to chase it because they thought it was falling off the horses or whatever it was.
Yes.
Huh? And he got it didn't fall. He got killed there.
No, Walter. That's later. Later, David HaMelech tries to bring the Aron to Yerushalayim, and Uzziah stretched his hand to try to prevent the Aron from falling, and Uzzah was killed.
Right. So Uzzah was killed, and why was he killed? Because the Aron
carries itself.
The Aron goes on its own. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it carries itself. So what the pshat that we just said, if the Aron carries itself, how is this a pshat? In other words, the Aron is something that carries itself. In other words, that's why the staves were left there all the time. Not because of itself. I'm just telling you. Okay.
He's saying, why did it need to bother them if it went by itself?
But Sidney, the Torah states explicitly that the Kahat carried it on their kosef.
Right.
No, same a kosef.
The rest of the time they did carry it.
So there's a different shot. The Aron looked shaky, looked like it was going to fall. So Uzzah had a lack of emunah there, because that was on a wagon. It was a different way. The way they brought it there was different. Then, for example, in the Mishkan, where in the Chora, there the Aron was carried by the Kahati using those poles.
Yeah.
So it was different there. But so it was a lack of emunah because the Aron is not going to fall, and there Chazal say because the Aron doesn't need anybody to carry it. but they were specifically given the mitzvah to carry it on their shoulders in the midbar. Okay. I thought it was an interest because we see the focus in this perek is on the Aron. And I think this gives us a little bit of an insight of why the Aron is, because why the Aron is so focused on as the vehicle by which they crossed.
So can you explain, Ernie, can you explain why the Kohanim had to continue to stand around it with their feet in the water? Were they a protective guard, or was that part of their avoda?
No, when we get to there, we're going to see that the Kohanim entered the Yarden, they just stopped. They took one step in, and that's what caused the Yarden to split. And they waited for Klal Yisrael to pass by. Then we're going to see what the Kohanim were commanded to do at that point. Up until now, all we read was the Kohanim enter the Yarden and then stand there. We haven't said what they do any further.
They completed the current when they put their feet into the water. Then they could go.
How long did it take for them to cross, for Bnei Israel to cross the Yarden?
Really? You have a question?
So it says like this. So they crossed on the 10th. They crossed in one day. They crossed in one day. On the 10th.
600,000.
It was just the min 600,000.
3 million.
More.
More even.
And they crossed in one day 3 million people?
It wasn't so far though. So far.
No, it wasn't far. It wasn't the far crossing. The Jordan is not that wide. Now.
How many Latinos crossed from South America?
You're so funny.
By the way, Pasuk Zayin.
Anna, maybe you can tell us. Maybe
Pasuk Zayin was Vayomer Hashem el Yoshua Hayom hazeh achel gadlecha b'nei kol Yisrael. So in Masechta Tainis it says Hayom hazeh ton rabbonon shlosha nigdim alehem chama bavura, that the sun stopped for them. Moshe, Yoshua, v'nagdimon ben Gurion. Yoshua dichsi vayidom Hashem et shviarech ma. El Moshe minolon on Rabbi Lazar asya achel achel. So this language of achel gadlecha was the same used by Moshe Rabbeinu in Sefer Dvarim. So they make a connection that the same way that because it doesn't say very clearly in the Torah that the sun stopped for Moshe Rabbeinu, but there's an episode by the Be'er that the sun also stopped, and compares it to what happened to Yoshua. I just thought that was an interesting. By the way, Rashi comments on Pasuk Vav where it says Seuas Haron Abris Hashem, where he's talking about the Kohanim. Ad Achshav Nasu Levim Vayom Kohanim. So it wasn't a combination of Levim and Kohanim; it was only Kohanim. Then Pasuk Tes, when it says Vayomer Yoshua Bnei Yisrael, Goshu Heina, come close. Says Rashi, Sim Seim et Kulam, Pasuk Tes. Pasuk Tes. Goshu Heina, Pasuk Tes.
This is your answer, Helene. This is Helene's answer.
He put all of Klal Yisrael between the two staves of the Aron. This is one of the places that a small area took a lot of people.
It was a miracle, in other words.
It's miraculous. Like, for example, in the Beis Hamikdash, somehow all Klal Yisrael could bow down, and there was room for all of them. So again, we know the Aron, when they measured the Aron and they placed it in the Kodesh Kadoshim, the Aron was Eina min Amida. You measured the Aron, it didn't fit in the Kodesh Kadoshim. So somehow anything related to the Aron is miraculous. So says the Musar HaNeviim. The Musar HaNeviim quotes a Vayikra Rabbah. it says, Vayom Yoshua b'nei Yisrael goshu ein Ravuna Omar, Zokfan ben Shnei Beda Aru. He put him between the two staves of the Aron. Rav Chama Brachlina Omar, Simon ben Shnei Badi Aaron, V'Rav Omar Tzimtzem ben Shnei B'Hachal D'Chziv, Vayom Yoshua b'Zos Tedu, Ki El Chai B'Kir B'Chem, Mitoch Shechziku Etchem Shnei Badi Aaron, Yodea Ani Sheshchinosi B'Nechem. Because you fit into this small space, I know that the Shechina is roy to be with you like that. Says the Musar Navim, the fact that this nace and all of Klal Yisrael could fit in this small space, there was a worry that Klal Yisrael would think when we enter the land, this is a very small country. There's not enough space for a big country, a big nation. All this pain that we're going through, wandering through 40 years, it's not, wasn't worth it. So Hashem showed them, if you will be worthy that the Shechina should be with you, you don't have to worry about anything. You'll be able to fit no matter where. So that's pshat number one. Now then, the pasuk Yud Aleph says, "Hine Aron Abrit Adon Kol Haaretz." So what does that mean? That the Aron Abrit is the master of the land. So it says, Rashi says, "Brit Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu Shehu Adon Haaretz." It's the covenant that Hashem made with Avram Avinu. That is the master. Va'al titama al havamir shel abrit sharbe mikrot medabrim kach. This is a language that we see in many psukim. K'mo hamizkarot hamechonot ha'emek ha'pkarim. Rashi gives us a number of examples of how that would say. And the Musar Nevi'im quotes the Yalkut Shimoni. Omer Shul Baruch Meni Komokum Shenemar Adon. Whenever it says Adon, master, commentary we don't have. It's always a reference to when he takes people who live somewhere, pulls them out, and puts new people in.
What is Aron Habrit Adon Kolaretz?
Yeah, why is it called
the covenant? Why is that the master of the world?
Because here, Oker Knanim, putting it and Umachnis Yisrael. So. Hinei b'haneshel kriyas hayarden haya b'zeh inyan gadol livnei Yisrael. In the splitting of the Jordan, it was very big for Klal Yisrael. Ki heim harei hayu ma'arim v'libam hayu nokfam aleim ulai shelo kahogen heima osim b'zeh sholchim lichvos archa shalom archeri. Deep in their hearts, they were worried. Who are we that we're not going to conquer these nations that have nothing to do with us? Sharei gam Avram Avinu. When Avram Avinu went to battle to rescue Lot, he also didn't want to take any reward. I don't even want to take a shoelace from you. So Klal Yisrael is wondering in their mind, well, our forefathers didn't want to take anything from these people. Why are we going to be zochet to it? Now the fact they're seeing this miracle of the Jordan splitting, this is not them going in to do battle. This is HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's the Adon Kol Haaretz that's entering into Klal Yisrael with his Merkava that we described the Aron. It's certainly HaKadosh Baruch Hu has the right to take out who's living there from there and put a new people in there. It's just a nice shot in how Rashi understood this. And again, if we can see Rashi in Pasuk Yud, with this nace that he saw that you were able to gather all of you there, you're going to be able to see that these miracles being done for you.
See, first it says Aron Habris Adon Kolaretz, and then it becomes Aron Hashem Adon Kolaretz. In Pasuk Yud Aleph, it's Aron Habris, and in Pasuk Yud Gimel, it's Aron Hashem.
Right. So the Malbim, so that we said before, because we have the bris is the covenant, which is the luchos that are there. We tried to give a little shot in terms of there's a combination in terms of how we bring the covenant of Hashem into Eretz Canaan. Now, let's go to Pasuk Tezvav. You asked, the Raglei Kohanim stepped into the Yarden, and then the waters started to build up. And the important pasuk is actually Tez Zayin. The waters, in all the pshatim that I saw, the waters piled up very high, going back 25 kilometers. So it was as high, either 12 mil by 12 mil. That's each mil is a kilometer, or one shot, it's 300 mil. So, like the Malbim says, there was a double nace. The waters that normally descend to the Jordan stop, like a dam. And it was harchek ma'od, it was distant. Rotzalomer, says the Malbim, so think about it. If you piled up water going backwards to 12-mile high, well, what about the sides of the Jordan? Wouldn't it overflow and cause floods? So the Malbim is telling it was a nes mitoch nes. It stayed within the confines of the Jordan. It did, even though there was high water, the water didn't spill over the sides. It built up back to the 25 kilometers to that city called Adam and Sartan, right? As the Malbim says, if the waters would flow the way their nature was, it would have caused a flood to the side cities on the side. So not only was it a miracle up, it was a miracle that the area of the Jordan maintained that water where it was. And those people did not get damaged either. Says the Midrashim in Masechta Sota, Kama goyvan shalmayim. How tall was the water? Shnei masar mil al shnei masar mil keneged machne Yisrael. 12 kilometer by 12 kilometer, which is the 12 by 12 was the dimensions of Machne Yisrael in the Mishka, in the Midbar. Divrei Rabbi Yehuda. So there's another opinion. The one who fights with Rabbi Yehuda, who's Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Shimon, says it was 300 mil high. This is Masechta Sota Lamed Daled. So, and the Brisa in Masechta in Yerushalmi has the same language. Tani Rav Lezer ben Yaakov Omer, Yoiser Misholosh Meot Smil Hayu Amayim Gedushim Ba'olim Kipin Al Gabi Kipin Ad Shira'u Otan Kol Umot HaOlam. The whole nations of the world saw this miracle of the Yarden. So just like it says by Yisro, by Yishma Yisro, that by the Kriyas Yamsuf, that the word of this somehow spread all over the world, here there's a pshat that also the nace of the splitting of the Yarden was seen as a worldwide event.
We're gonna leave.
Pero no cantaron como cantaron con el otro.
We gotta leave the meeting.
You have to leave the meeting?
Okay, everybody, Yeshakoyach, Mirza Hashem, we will continue Perek Daled next week, and which will be continuing some of the more processes that occurred during the Kriyas Hayarden. And tomorrow night, the Tzuvim Rabbanan is 8 o'clock.